Take with your boy Steven Pepper, here to give a take off my chest. I know, before you click off, we're in the doggest days of summer, so you know we are in that mode when I'm up here talking about baseball. But let me get this take off my chest before we go back to regularly scheduled program. If you're a Yankees fan, last night had to be the ultimate okay game. I mean, you got to be feeling good today considering where you were just at. That June, July? The hell was that? The Yankees went from the best record in all of baseball to a stretch where they lost more games than any team in the majors, not the Chicago White Sox. A contender in the same breath as the White Sox is an embarrassment. Outside of Judge and Soto, their bats weren't batting. And last time I checked, you can't win a World Series with just two bats. But something changed over the weekend in Fenway, and I can't explain it. And it clearly traveled over to Philly last night, where their offense has woken up. The other guys around Judge and Soto are actually starting to heat up. You want to talk about a we back game? They put 14 runs, 6 of those homers against one of the very best teams in all of majors last night. If you're a Yankees fan, today you got to be feeling like, okay, we're back to being serious pennant contenders. Now, are they the front runner in the American League? I don't think so just yet. I think tonight by the trade deadline at 6 p.m., they got to add an extra arm or two in that bullpen, maybe another low-end starter, just because their pitching staff's a little shaky. Because a big reason why they also had that bad stretch, Chicago White Sox X stretch, is not only were their bats not batting, but their pitching unit went from one of the best in all baseball to one of the worst. They had a 6 ERA in the last 30 games. That's not good enough. Pitching wins World Series. But if their offense can hit like this, obviously they're not going to put 14 runs up again on a consistent basis. But if they can get more from the other guys, because they've been scoring, even when they were losing a lot of games, roughly the same amount of runs they were when they were winning, about 5, 6 a game. But they became more and more Judge Soto reliant, and that wasn't producing wins. But if they can get other guys like Jazz Chisholm, who Cashman actually finally made a move to help this offense, that's an all-star bat. And last night in his second game in a Yankees uniform, he goes deep not once but twice. That is a really good sign. Also looked good defensively at third base. The big Stanton, my favorite, probably most obvious steroid user in the American League, my favorite Giancarlo Stanton, he's back off the IL. That's many home runs right there that they were missing. That's home runs right there. He was out for most of July. Ben Rice, he also went deep yesterday. He's Anthony Rizzo's replacement who missed a lot of June, July with an injury. Volpe also went deep. That's what you need at the kid. I mean, their offense was always good because you got guys like Judge and Juan Soto. Those are 2 of the 3 best players in all of baseball. Those guys are really good. I mean, Judge, that dude went deep twice yesterday, and Soto's always good. But you need supplementary guys around him, and that's why they weren't winning games. And because they went from one of the worst teams in all of baseball, 25 to 30 games they were above 500. Best record in all of baseball at one point. They were winning a lot of games, blowing teams out with all these runs until a stretch where they were 11-23, losing as many games as the White Sox because their bats weren't batting. And I'm not one of the biggest historians in baseball, but tell me a team in the last 20, 30 years that wins a World Series with 1 or 2 bats. But their offense woke up in Fenway, which they needed. They finally won a series. I mean, this team couldn't buy a series. I mean, they're the most wealthy team in all baseball, couldn't even afford a series win. I mean, they were on a 9-series losing streak. They lost to my Reds. They got swept by my Reds. My Reds right now are in the bottom of the NL Central. They suck. And the Yankees got swept by them in New York. The Yankees last week got swept by their neighbor, the Mets. Everyone's least favorite team, the Mets. They lost to the Mets, got swept. And I know Yankees fans overreact a lot, but I kind of agree with them. Season kind of looked over. And if Judge and Soto weren't carrying, the season probably was over. Is this team a playoff team today after that June, July, if Judge and Soto weren't hitting like they were? But this offense is woken up. I mean, yesterday they had 7 earned runs off Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler's a guy, if Paul Skeens isn't in the National League, this guy's probably going to win Cy Young. That's how good Zach Wheeler is. And this offense, Jazz, Ben Rice, both went deep off an elite pitching. That is a really good sign if you're the Yankees. Now, of course, They got to tune up some pitching to be a front runner in the American League. But if they can do something tonight before the deadline and keep continuing this momentum against the Phillies, because they play game 2 of the series tonight in Philadelphia, if you're a Yankees fan, you got to feel like, okay, we're back in business. We look more like we did in May. A really good offense outside of Judge and Soto. And you got to keep that production going forward if you want to be serious. But I think the Yankees now, the vibes are back. They kind of feel like they're back in business. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in this episode of A Casual Take. Follow all my social media to stay updated on all things related to the show. Until next time, see you.